the podcast. Before the podcast, we want to get to know Janine Nicole, right?
Janine Cascio.
So
It's okay.
yeah, because I keep on saying Nicole.
Yeah.
Okay, so Janine Cascio. Okay, Cascio, you say that you're Italian from New York.
Yes.
Okay, so Janine, tell me, why are you a private lender?
Yeah, I mean, going back 8 years now, but I got approached to work for a family office, and luckily and so gratefully, like, I worked very closely with the three brothers that ran a shop out of New York, and they took me under their wing, taught me everything. And when I moved to Houston, because of COVID, I kind of came here, and I came down here, and I was working remotely for that fund in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw a place to really dive in and share my own, unique expression of being a woman in finance. And I kind of just ran with it.
Oh, cool. So let me ask you this. Why are so many private money or even hard money lenders, why are they going out of business or shifting towards doing, conventional loans or being a conventional lender?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's just a lot of negative connotations within the space of hard money lenders. I think a lot of people find themselves like getting into trouble just because there's not a lot of like regulation within the private lending space. It is a self-regulated industry. So whether people are like getting in trouble because they're racking up the fees and they just lack transparency, they find themselves not being able to develop those like repeat clients. And that's something that we pride ourselves on at Simple Lending Financial, is really getting those repeat clients, developing that book of business, making sure that what we, issue out on a term sheet on the front end is what they're expecting to have on the back end. And I'm part of the National Private Lenders Association. So as a committee, we actually get together on a monthly basis and regulate ourselves and make sure that we're abiding to rules and regulations, that we're doing right by the consumer.
So you mentioned that that organization is dominated by men, right?
Yeah, it is. It's probably has over 100 members, and there's less than 10 females in that space, in that association. And my company makes up 3 of those women.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what drives you to keep growing in this industry? It obviously has to be a tough industry, right?
Yeah, it is. I think just the finance industry as a whole, I feel like is a scary place for women to succeed, and mostly because it is male dominated. And there just comes with a lot of limiting beliefs that I just had a mindset shift one day. And I remember one day being like, I wish there were more mentors in this space. I wish that there was more females leading in this space. And then all of a sudden I was like, why not me? Why not me be that person that paves the way and like takes the bold moves with confidence and puts myself in rooms that people don't think I belong in. So when I joined the NPLA and then I moved my company to a corporate account, meaning I got 3 members in there, it was exciting because everyone's kind of like, who is this all-woman leadership team? And it's just nice. It just drives me to be unique. It drives me to make, that path so that other women behind me feel more comfortable to move through the space. Already, I get reached out to on, social media saying I inspired, like even when I was in Miami, I had this guy come up to me and he's like, you inspire me. So I know that what we're doing on a daily basis is inspiring others. And through my company, the bigger we get and the more outreach we have, I think I can make a bigger impact. So it kind of just drives me to keep going.
So you were looking for an industry leader to help you get into this, and you ended up being that leader.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously you have some great traits, right? So what traits do you think help you in grow in this industry?
Yeah, for sure. We actually did a DISC assessment recently within my company, and everyone tested out their personalities. And for me, my two strongest was drive and influence. And I couldn't be any more stronger personality for that, of having the drive, having my desires and my passions, and being able to make that impact through influence and leading by example. And I think that's the type of leader I am.
Wow, that's interesting. So y'all take tests every quarter, every month,
so
or
we like to do quarterly assessments, and I'll do different tests. Like we did like right brain, left brain test, but this last quarter we did the DISC assessment, and everyone kind of saw their traits. And for example, my chief operating officer was like supportive and cautious, which are the two opposite traits of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's my yang to my yin, my yin to my yang. It's like the perfect combination. So it was nice to kind of have that in our awareness when like we already knew we were a good match, but that just like defined it.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this, right? I believe, right, myself, I feel like I'm not a self-made, right? I feel like a lot of people contributed to my success. Who contributed the most to your success? Shout out the two people that really contributed to your success here.
Yeah, for sure. I would say a shout out would definitely be my boyfriend. I think there's always someone behind you that is always believing in you. And he, we've been dating the past 2.5 years. I met him, briefly after starting my company, but being able to scale in the way and move in the way and have the confidence I've had is definitely that boost of support that he's had for me. And of course, my chief operating officer, Sydney, who has been my first employee. She was my assistant, and now she's leading the operations team. And she's always been there to, kind of be a fan of Simple Lending Financial, believing in the vision, believing in what we're doing on a daily basis. And I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today without either of them.
That's really awesome. That's nice that you recognize that, that you have your
I'm a big believer that no one achieves success alone.
Yes.
No one does. Yes. You have to realize that when you are succeeding, of who you're around, who are you, like if you're having a good day and you feel support and you feel confidence, it's like notice who you spent time with that day, because those are your people. And then like if you're feeling bad one day and you're like, oh, negative spirals, like notice who you may have encountered that day. And kind of like there's people in your life, and they could be people that are super close to you, but it's almost like there's people that are truly there to support and push you, and to just hang out with those people more when definitely. You're on the train.
So let me ask you this: Hollywood came knocking on the door and said, "Hey, give me the Janine Cascio story.
Yeah.
Pitch it to me like you're pitching it to a board, that is about to give you money to create this awesome movie."
Yeah. I've been waiting for Hollywood and Netflix to knock on my door, so I'm prepared. But yeah, financing the country. That would be our title of just being a woman entrepreneur, paving the way for women in the industry, financing luxury, fix and flips across the country. Our team surpassed 10 million a month this past year, but we're constantly growing and doing loans across the country. So I think it'd be a fun thing to tune into.
That's awesome. So I heard HBO gives just anybody shows. So
really?
you should try HBO.
I'll reach out to them. I need a PR girl.
Right? So why did you decide to start your company? Like what was the main factor?
Yeah, just going back to feeling that, sense of like, why not me? But when I was leaving my firm, I did kind of, approach other kind of lenders within this space. And, I knew a lot of CEOs just from going to conferences. And, when they gave me an offer, a lot of it was like, here's our loan officer package. Like, I just didn't see the value there. I was like, I have a whole book of business. I was the top salesperson in my last firm. Like, I know what I could bring to the table, and no one was able to kind of compensate me in the way that I thought I should be compensated. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bet on myself. And At first, I created my LLC and was working for me. And then just a few months in, I'm like, you know what? I could really scale and grow this.
So you believed in yourself. Also.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Not a lot of people do
yeah.
that. Everybody, that's the scariest part of all this is just counting on yourself.
Yeah.
And like you just said, you stepped it up and you became the industry leader and you took a bet on yourself. You invested in yourself.
For sure. I don't always advise anyone to just go and bet on yourself.
Not for everybody.
You have to just to even have the thought of like, I will eat last. Like, to have that savings of like, okay, I can maybe go a full year without paying myself or getting paid, and having that cushion. So luckily I was in a blessed space to, have, invested in my house already. I bought my house. I had a ton of money in stocks. So I was comfortable. Like I was comfortable to be like, I'll go 6 to 12 months without eating.
But that's interesting what you just said, that I'll eat less, but as long as, and that's the sacrifice that a lot of people don't want to give up. They want to they want to be first. They want to make the money right up front. And it's like, no.
There were multiple months I paid payroll and I paid everyone at my company but me. But me. Like,
Taking out loans to pay. I've been there. So if you could model your career behind any kind of, business mogul, right? Yeah. Who would that be?
So there is a woman within my space. Her name is Trixie Castro. I'm actually getting her on my podcast this week, so awesome. I'm excited for that. But she was the CEO and founder of Genesis Capital. Okay. They actually sold to JP Morgan. And she's out doing another firm now. But to be able to, grow and scale rapidly, be able to have that exit, then go on to your next chapter in life kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure she's out doing a lot of like business coaching and mentoring and things like that. And I see that for myself. I see myself kind of eventually being in a position where I'm just kind of giving back on time because I'm comfortable, I'm good, I'm set for life. And I could just provide people with value.
That's awesome. So what's her name?
Trixie Castro.
And where can we find Trixie? I want to look for her now.
Yeah, she's on Instagram. She's on LinkedIn, and it's Trixie Castro. I feel like Trixie's a unique name, so it should be easy to
I like
to
that
find.
Name, actually.
Yeah, it's cute.
So, every entrepreneur, right? And I say this every interview, that nobody's a real entrepreneur until they've identified their weaknesses, right? What are your two weaknesses that you have as an entrepreneur?
I'm very open with my weaknesses. I'm like super vulnerable to my team. Even within our assessments, we actually call each other out for our weaknesses. So I think there's something unique about being aware of your weaknesses. But my weaknesses would definitely be being impulsive and reactive. So a lot of what I do, I actually have my yoga and yoga certificate and meditation certificate because I know I could be reactive. Like I remember even like one time, like my loan officers were all like talking about like cornbread instead of being on the phones. And I remember coming out of my office and being like, stop freaking talking about cornbread. Get on the phone. Like you guys are all being like your own worst enemies. Well, what the hell with the cornbread? And then I remember like 2 minutes later being like, okay, I didn't need to like be that reactive about the cornbread. And then being impulsive, like I can be like, okay, like this week we're going to New York. I want to go to this conference. So like 2 minutes later, like I'm like buying flights. And of course, like when you're buying flights last minute, they're more expensive. And I could be better with being like planned out with these other shows we're going to. We're going to commit to this. I could do things very like last minute and like just switch things up. So, but I am mindful and very aware of my weaknesses.
Well, this was a great interview, and I really enjoyed having. We're about to start the podcast, but go ahead and look into the camera and let everybody know, where they can find you and what your services are.
Yeah, my name is Janine Cascio. My company is Simple Lending Financial. You can find us on all the social media platforms, from LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, my company does nationwide private lending. We, cater to business purpose real estate transactions. So our go-to clients would be fix and flippers or home builders, people looking to buy investment properties, put a tenant in there, rent it out, make some passive income. I've created my fund. So if you're not looking to actively buy fix and flips or be a home builder, you could passively earn income by investing in my fund.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're gonna start up soon.
Thank you.
Cut.